Hey everybody, this is 22 Tiger Dude, and I'm here to review the 1998 film Godzilla. So before I do review the film, my guest star Rokaan Al-zeer is going to review the film. So Rokaan, take it away, dude.
Hey, how you guys are doing there, all of 22 Tiger Dudes viewers. My name is Rokaan Al-zeer, and I am a fellow YouTube reviewer of movies and stuff. And, he asked me to review Godzilla with him, which I was so thrilled to do because it's one of my anticipated movies of the year. Until he said the 1998 Godzilla movie, which I was just like, okay, I might as well dig up nostalgia. So, anyway, I just want to say right off the bat, I'm not a hardcore Godzilla fan. I wasn't the person that watched every single Godzilla movie that I rent at my Blockbuster, because I think I only saw like 3 Godzilla movies, and they were the 98 Godzilla movie, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. And I thought they were pretty cool, just really cool, fun movies for a kid at my age. But I was a huge fan of the Godzilla animated series that was on Fox Kids. I'd watch it every Saturday. I remember it came on after X-Men and after Spider-Man, and it was before Digimon and before Power Rangers. So those are my Godzilla memories, along with playing the Nintendo GameCube Godzilla game, Destroy All Monsters, which was pretty awesome. I enjoyed playing that game. So many things. So the story of Godzilla, the Roland Emmerich movie, is that Godzilla comes to New York and blows it up, and the military, along with Matthew Broderick as the scientist, have to stop him. So, does that sound like a stupid plot? It is a stupid plot, because first of all, you're making a Godzilla movie, and yet the first thing you do is we're going to put him in New York. We're not going to have him blow up Tokyo, which I can understand maybe because it was an American version of Godzilla, but at least this new Godzilla had the balls to say we're going to take him to Tokyo and actually have Godzilla be Godzilla, you know what I mean? So there's that. It was just a really dumb plot. The fact that Matthew Broderick plays like the lead scientist of this movie, and basically he's a worm scientist, and the military say, hey, you were going to help us find out who or what Godzilla is. And I was just like, that's stupid. Why would you want a worm scientist researching a giant lizard? You know what I mean? And just... Alright, let me just say, I used to like this movie when I was a kid. I really did. But I was a kid back then. When you're a kid, you tend to love anything. But when you're an adult, you see all of the mistakes in some of the movies you liked. And Godzilla is one of them. Because this movie, it's bad. I hate this movie. I mean, for starters, look. The acting, it's shitty. I mean, Matthew Broderick the whole time is just making googly eyes, just going... What do we do? What do we do? That's a lot of fish. That's a lot of fish. You know what I mean? It's so bad. And the main chick of this movie, Matthew Broderick's like love interest, because you gotta have a love interest in the movie. She's a terrible actress. She's just absolutely awful. And I don't really think she even did anything after Godzilla. I think the only thing she did after it was like an episode of Friends, which I had seen her in. But she's just bad in it. And Hank Azaria is in this movie. Hank Azaria was just cast just to play like a stereotypical Brooklyn dude, because that's all he was. He was just an annoying Brooklyn guy. You know what I mean? And the only good actor in this movie, by the way, is, I don't know what his name is, but I'm gonna call him the French guy from The Professional, because at least he seemed like he was giving a shit while filming this movie. At least it looked that way, But yeah, and I gotta say, Godzilla's design in this movie, it is fucking horrendous. I mean, first of all, Godzilla's way too skinny. He looks too much like a fucking dinosaur than a mutated lizard. You know what I mean? And it's just, this movie's just dumb. It's just absolutely dumb. Like, all right, like at one point in the movie, one of the big plot points is that Godzilla is pregnant, and Godzilla hatches these little sort of mutated lizard babies, which, first of all, that's stupid. Why? Because basically he just showed that Godzilla, the king of all monsters, isn't really a king, and basically you're ruining Godzilla's reputation like that. And there's this like section throughout the movie where you meet Godzilla's hatched babies and so forth. It basically turns into the biggest Jurassic Park ripoff ever. Seriously, they're like opening doors, they're stalking people through the shadows. It's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. You know, God, this movie's terrible, man. And just, and it, oh man, I hate this movie. But anyways, it's just like the whole time I'm just watching it, there's some things about this movie that I just find really fucking stupid. Like the idea that Godzilla can somehow disappear and the military can't really find him. I'm just like, are you kidding me? He's a giant lizard. He can't easily blend in, you know what I mean? I mean, it's dumb, and not to mention, like, the military, they portray the military in this movie as a bunch of fucking idiots, because they're trying to chase Godzilla. There's, like, one point in the movie where the military is chasing Godzilla. Godzilla is, like, dodging them, and they end up blowing up literally half of New York, which, I don't really complain about shit getting blown up, but it's the fucking military, and they're blowing things up, and it's just, it's dumb. But the worst thing about this movie, the absolute worst thing about Godzilla, and this is something bad about a Godzilla movie, is just that it's boring. Like, seriously, I got so bored, it was so dull throughout the whole movie, and I was just like, I was waiting for this movie to end. It was like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I felt like it went on longer than that. You know? It's just like, you could really sort of like pick this movie apart. Like at one point, Godzilla humps this like, this building. At least it looked like humping, but it was just, it's so bad. And this movie's also very 90s, and I usually like movies that are 90s, but this is 90s like the worst ways, because it just shows how dated this movie is with like disposable Kodak cameras, or like the fact that they're making, you know, Siskel and Ebert jokes, and it's just really bad, though. The only positive I can say about this movie, aside from the French guy professional acting, is that I actually do like the soundtrack. I had the soundtrack when I was a kid, and I really did like it, because it had Puff Daddy, it had The Wallflowers, and Rage Against the Machine, and Green Day, and so forth. But aside from that, this movie is just horrendous. It's bad. I mean, this movie is basically a disaster of disaster movies, and it just showed how, like, Roland Emmerich literally had no care for Godzilla whatsoever. He didn't retain anything that made Godzilla really, you know, memorable. And what makes Godzilla memorable? The fact that he's a giant, big, you know, mutated lizard that breathes fire, blows up cities, and faces off against monsters. And I'm really hoping Gareth Edwards, you know, does a good job. I really hope he redeems Godzilla. It looks that way anyways, but, you know, I'm just saying, you never know. But anyway, so I'm just going to give Godzilla, because of the French guy's professionals acting and the soundtrack, I'm just going to give it a D. I really don't like this movie.
Thank you, Rokaan, for reviewing 1998 Godzilla. No BS. This is a bad film. Roland Emmerich, I'm just going to say this. I find his films to be highly entertaining. I really enjoyed The Day After Tomorrow, 2012, 10,000 BC, White House Down, and of course, I really enjoy Independence Day. The title of this film is so misleading. I think it should have just been called Zilla, because there is no point in making a film about Godzilla when this film actually has no Godzilla. There really is literally no Godzilla in this film. That's definitely one of the biggest flaws. The lizard is actually a female because she hatched eggs. Roland Emmerich, what the hell were you thinking? It was absolutely ridiculous. This is by far one of the stupidest films I've ever seen. It was just such a cluster mess of a movie. The storyline is terrible. You really don't give a shit about the characters. And the movie, everything just has to be joke after joke after joke after joke. And it's fine when you could add humor, but when you try to do it like every 1 minute, it just gets so fucking repetitive. John Reno, who I think is a really good actor, his character was just so cartoony, and I just didn't like his character, and I felt his talent was just so wasted here. He tried, but he was just so over the top. Oh my god, the visual on Zilla is absolutely terrible. The visual in the 1954 film Godzilla, which I absolutely love, that has better visuals than this 1998 piece of shit. There is no excuse for that. The most clustered part of this whole film is by far the final 30 to 25 minutes of the movie. It is just absolutely insane how messy, how unbelievably stupid the finale was, then my head was just boggling with frustration. What the fuck did we really just watch? We really did not get a Godzilla film. It's not even a Godzilla film, in my opinion. It's just some lizard film. That's all I see it, because really it's more of a lizard. And then, of course, the eggs that this particular lizard, Zilla, hatched. The acting, I will say, it's not all that bad. Positives I do have for this film is that I liked Matthew Broderick. I liked the blonde, curly-haired girl that was along with him in the journey. I did laugh a few times, and there were even a couple of times where I would laugh at a stupid moment, but that's really twice. All the other stupid moments, they just infuriate me. The film has a pretty cool soundtrack, and when the military tries to shoot Zilla, the action that involves Zilla and all the other lizards, it's a mess. But when the military's like trying to shoot Zilla and they're shooting missiles, I actually thought that kind of action in this film looked cool, and I could have a little bit of fun. Like, I'll be honest, for the first 1 hour, the action was a little bit of fun. It was still clustered. It was still stupid as shit. But I still had a little bit of fun with the action. And then, of course, once it hits the finale, I just didn't give a shit about the action because, you know, it's just so... it's really unwatchable. I did not think a non-Godzilla film could be this bad, but holy shit, it is so bad. Overall, Roland Emmerich's 1998 film Godzilla is a piece of shit. Terrible storytelling, horrible visuals on Zilla. It's very clustered. The jokes come every minute, and it just makes it so repetitive. Terrible writing, and it really is just such a disgrace to the Godzilla genre. I give 1998's Godzilla 1.5 out of 4 stars. Just... oh, wow. Please check out Rokaan Al-zeer's channel. I will leave a link in the description below. I am 22 Tiger Dude. Don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power!